Hello there, a lovely and warm welcome to Hope Channel Zambia television that changes lives. You're just in time for the news to take a look at stories making headlines in a bulletin. Today, Zambia assumes COMESA chairmanship. Publication of shortlisted candidates for defense recruitment set. Evelyn Horn biomedical engineering students enraged by management's failure to provide protective clothing. Call for use of contraceptives among sexually active young people is described as the leading cause to rise in sexually transmitted infections, STIs. And distribution of the great controversy ready for the public after dedication and launch. And Northern Zambia Union Conference Youth Director calls for localized youth anthems. These stories plus more coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
My wife, bumper harvest. Eh?
Daddy,
I'm telling you.
your new fertilizer. Niamini.
Eh?
Iye daddy
Tell you.
Hello. My instructions. Ya kunka bwino mwamene.
I went to ETG, and now we are enjoying the benefits of using a blended D-compound fertilizer as basil and Kynoplus as top dressing fertilizer instead of urea that we used last year. Now look here. This year, it has given me 4 tons. 4 tons. But last year, it was only 1.8 tons. Kynoplus has given all my crops the nitrogen that I paid for. Wow. It has saved me money. Telling you.
Understanding the difference between soil and crop-specific fertilizers, therein lies strength for Kynoplus blended fertilizers. More value in a bag. Available in the ETG depots countrywide, with a network providing agronomy services to farmers across the country. Kynoplus. Enhanced efficiency through innovation. A product of ETG.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Bright SINKOZI with the details. On sign language, we have Sharon AKUFUNA. Zambia has assumed the chairmanship for the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, from Egypt. Until today, the COMESA chairmanship was vested in Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who has since handed over the mantle to Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema. President Hichilema, in accepting the chairmanship, said there is need for member countries to work as a unity and not as competitors for the betterment of the region. Mr. Hichilema says COMESA needs to integrate for it to develop and be able to thrive in all sectors. And Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has implored the new leadership to work on projects that were not implemented due to challenges faced in the last leadership. Mr. el-Sisi says there is a challenge of peace and security which needs attention. Several presidents spoke, including Kenya's William Ruto, who was visiting Zambia for the first time since he became president of that country.
The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, is a regional economic community in Africa consisting of 21 member states. This year, Zambia is hosting 22nd COMESA Summit of Heads of State and Government in Lusaka. This summit saw a number of high-level dialogue between private and public stakeholders as well as heads of state and government. Today, 4 heads of state were in attendance, namely William Ruto of Kenya, Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi, and Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt. And 3 vice presidents, 1 prime minister, 1 deputy prime minister, and ministers. The Zambia houses the headquarters of COMESA right in the heart of Lusaka. Zambia has taken over of the COMESA authority from President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt. The Egyptian president outlined a number of achievements during his time, such as economic development, but feels integration is a way to go, and President Hakainde Hichilema is ready to take up the mantle.
We need to work tirelessly in the period ahead to justify us to taking over from great leaders like President Sisi. Sir, we have to earn our ticket for being chair and vice chair. And I know we can count on each other and count on others, including the outgoing chair. Let us change the narrative of our intra-African trade by viewing ourselves in the manner that I just described not long ago.
Other presidents who are attending this meeting for the first time were accorded a chance to give a maiden speech.
I therefore commend the Secretariat and the organizers for their work in arranging this summit and for identifying this theme to highlight important development agendas and to anchor our deliberations. The entire world, ladies and gentlemen, is saddled with enormous and intertwined economic, geopolitical, and climate crises, which have exerted enormous adverse impact on our continent and also our region. These evolving crises were catalyzed by the COVID-19 pandemic, with uniquely devastating consequences on our economies. Although we are now fully embarked on the path to normalcy, we have the singular opportunity to act collectively in crafting effective strategies for accelerating recovery and deepening resilience to anchor sustainable policies, mechanisms, and frameworks.
On all of us to move with speed on the key pillars of our economic integration. Those pillars include working together to increase our productive capacities in key sectors such as agriculture, tourism, and mining, which we have adopted in Malawi and refer to as the ATM strategy. Liberalizing and harmonizing processes for facilitating the movement of goods and people across our borders. Developing and synchronizing our infrastructural, transport, energy, digital, and financial, as well as law enforcement systems.
Later, the heads of state and government had a closed-door meeting. This summit was running under the theme, Economic Integration for a Thriving COMESA, anchored on green investment, value addition, and tourism. Esnat Sikazwe, Hope News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema says COMESA is the largest union that can help businesses have trading blocks. Mr. Hichilema says COMESA should continue to work hard, for Africa cannot be the only continent that receives from other continents. He said Africa needs to be self-sustained and not rely on others always. President Hichilema said economic development is essential for the African region. He said this can only be achieved if COMESA integrates and become one and create a one border post to reduce roadblocks in member countries. And COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Kapwepwe has thanked Egyptian President for the development COMESA has seen this far.
To run through our mandate, to actualize that which we were created for, economic integration, in line with the aspirations of our Agenda 2063, to achieve a single and integrated African economic community with a significant presence on the global stage. As Africa, we cannot continue to be observers on the continental stage. We cannot expect others to make decisions in our favor all the time. We have to be present at this stage. The regional economic communities, and in particular COMESA, remain the pillars to our continental integration agenda. We need to leverage the economies of scale presented by the size of our region, just the sheer size of our region, with a population of around 583 million people, a gross domestic product of over $800 billion, and indeed a geographical area of 12 million square kilometers. Yes, this landmass has the resource endowment that should allow us to exploit them properly, to manage, to work towards reaching our agenda. It's very important that we as a continent and as a COMESA acknowledge God's gift to us, land. Not just land, but fertile land. Water. Not just water, not salt water, but fresh water.
In other news, Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma has announced the publication of shortlisted candidates for recruitment in the Defense Force. Mr. Lufuma said the names will be published in the Times of Zambia and Zambia Daily Mail newspapers in 3 phases, with the first publication beginning on Monday 12th and then Wednesday 14th and Friday 16th June 2023 respectively. He said the same names will be also published on the Ministry of Defense, Army, ZAF and ZNS websites. The minister described the shortlisting process as a vigorous process, citing that the total number of applicants across the country was 236,000, out of which over 5,000 names will be published, from which a final list of 5,000 applicants will be shortlisted to the next phase. The minister has urged the successive candidates to defend the sovereignty of the country, as this rare privilege has been given to them among many youths who are not employed. Mr. Lufuma further said that training will be hard and vigorous, and as such, all successive candidates have to go through strict medical examinations so that only those who are physically, mentally, and psychologically fit will start the training.
Recruitment exercise in the Defense Force is now ready to commence. The names of shortlisted candidates will be published in the Times of Zambia and the Daily Mail on Monday, the 12th of June, on Wednesday, the 14th of June, and Friday, the 16th of June, 2023. The same will be published on the Ministry of Defense, the Army, Zambia Air Force, and Zambia National Service websites. The shortlisted candidates are expected to report to the provincial centers on Sunday, the 18th June, 2023. The third phase will be shortlisting and publication of successful candidates after various stages of the interview process. That is medical, you have to go through medical, the physical examinations, and aptitude tests. All militaries world over have a duty to defend the sovereignty of their respective country. Therefore, as such, you will be required to be deployed within or outside Zambia. Sometime when there's need, you will be deployed as part of the United Nations troops. Henceforth, the training will be hard and vigorous. It is for this reason that all successful candidates have to go through strict medical examinations so that only the physically, mentally, and psychologically fit recruits will start the training.
In other news, Mutendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chibeka says road maintenance and rehabilitation works have commenced in his ward, with latest development pointing to the grading of a road linking Mutendere compound with Presidential Housing Initiative (PHI) through to the Great East Road. The councillor told Hope News that the works are expected to run for at least 4 days, in which grading should be completed. He said this is in line with the campaign promises he made during the 2021 general elections, supplementing government efforts to improve the road network in the country, thereby leading to development. Mr. Chibeka has since thanked the Lusaka City Council for enabling the work and has committed to working collaboratively with the community in making roads in his ward accessible.
Actually, what is happening here, there is the road maintenance of an existing road in Mtendere to PHI area. This road has become impassable. It's completely blocked off from motorized traffic.